Hello, dear viewers. On this episode of In Kuwait, we take you inside one of the nation's most significant cultural landmarks, the Museum of Modern Art in Kuwait, located in Kuwait City's historic Al-Sharq district. The building itself carries a rich story, and let's discover that story now. Let's go in. Welcome back, dear viewers. And now that we are in this historic building, the Museum of Modern Art, originally established in 1939 as Al-Sharqiyya School, one of the earliest formal schools for boys in the country. This school became a cornerstone in Kuwait's educational history, nurturing generations who would later shape the nation's cultural and intellectual life. After the school closed, the site was carefully preserved transformed into the Museum of Modern Art, officially opening in 2003 under the supervision of the National Council for Cultural Arts and Letters, also known as the NCCAL. The transformation symbolizes Kuwait's journey from valuing a traditional education to embracing creativity and artistic expression. The museum stands as a bridge between Kuwait's past and its creative present, preserving the heritage of education while celebrating the evolution of modern and contemporary art. Within its galleries, visitors can explore a rich collection of artworks that trace Kuwait's artistic development and highlights its growing influence in the regional art scene. The museum's architecture reflects the nation's cultural identity through restored heritage spaces, open courtyards, and carefully created galleries that bring together tradition and innovation in one inspiring setting. Beyond its exhibitions, the Museum of Modern Arts plays a vital role as an educational and cultural hub. It regularly hosts art workshops, lectures, and collaborative projects that engage both artists and visitors. Through its permanent and temporary exhibitions, it supports artists, promotes dialogue between generations, and introduces the public to international art movements. The museum is not only a space for viewing art, it is a platform for learning, discovery, and expression, reaffirming Kuwait's vision to make culture and creativity an integral part of everyday life. Welcome back, dear viewers. If you're just tuning in, you're watching In Kuwait, and of course now we are covering the Museum of Art here in Modern Art, of course. And we have a guest with us today who is a visitor and a lover of art, Dr. Hind Al-Mazidi. Thank you for joining us, Doctor.
Thank you for interviewing me.
Doctor, can you tell us initially what brought you here today?
Well, actually, as you said, I'm a lover of art. I've been painting ever since the age of 12, and I was mostly in the beginning into classical art, impressionist art, and that was kind of what I focused on. But then I was introduced to the world of modern art, and I remember my mother brought us, me and my siblings, who are here right now, to this museum as soon as it opened. The first day it was open, and I fell in love with modern art. And that's what started my interest in modern art. And then any country I go to, the first thing I do is I look for a modern art museum and I go and visit it. So of course, this is my favorite museum in Kuwait. And that's why today I brought my nephews and niece to this museum so that they can share my love of art.
Amazing, and I hope they are enjoying it as much as you are. Yes, yes. Now, let's start with this sculpture here we have in front of us, this piece of art. Can you explain more about it, please?
Well, this is a very interesting sculpture because it's actually made of recycled material. So this artist, who's called Badr al-Mansour, he uses recycled material. So if you can take a little bit closer look, you can see there are screws and there are different kinds of scrap metals. And he uses these scrap metals and recycles them in order to create a sculpture of a peacock. Which is very artistic, and I think it's a very creative way of recycling material.
Now, Dr. Hind, we move on to the second piece. Can you tell us your interpretation of this piece, please?
Well, this piece is very special because it's actually part of a series of sculptures by my favorite sculptor, whose name is Sami Muhammad, and I actually met him personally.
Amazing.
Yes, he had an exhibition that was in Shuwaykh, and I went because I wanted to meet him because he's an extremely talented sculptor. And you can see that it shows in this sculpture, and this is one of the series of sculptures called An Attempt to Get Out. And it kind of symbolizes somebody who's trapped, whether it's trapped physically or trapped emotionally, and they're trying to get out of this box, which is almost like a cage or a prison. And on your side, you see
I see the hand coming out.
And on my side, it's the back of the person trying to break free from the box that's imprisoning them.
Well, now, Doctor, we are at this piece, which is part of all of the artists' an attempt to get out. Now, can you tell us more about what do you think the psychological aspect behind the artist's mind when he made this piece?
Well, this is, like I mentioned before, it's part of a series of sculptures that are called An Attempt to Get Out, like you just said. And I think Sami Muhammad, and from what I could understand from when I met him, he was saying that it's a different series, but they all have the same theme, about someone feeling trapped inside something. And you mentioned psychology, which I think is very important because this could be interpreted, when you look at it, you think, oh, this is someone trying to physically break free from a cage or from a box. But you could also think that this is someone trying to break free from psychological pressure, or someone trying to break free from a disease. So this could actually be, you know, kind of bringing in my medical background.
Yes, I was just going to ask, how do you tie it with your medical background, which is family medicine, you mentioned?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. And when I look at it, I can think of it either as trying to break free from a disease or a disorder like depression, or it could be breaking free of a chronic disease. And as you can, as you know, disease is a very important aspect of our lives, and it affects everyone eventually. And sometimes it can feel like disease is a cage and that people are trying to break free from it. And I think that's kind of how some people with disabilities feel. Sometimes your disability traps you and it makes you imprisoned. And one of the things that I think the messages from these series, which is several of the sculptures about an attempt to get free or to break out or break free, is that you're trying to break free from something that you feel like is hindering you from achieving your goal.
Yes.
So for someone, for example, with a disability, they're trying to achieve something, but their disability is preventing them. Or for someone with chronic pain, their pain is preventing them from doing something. Someone with diabetes or someone with any kind of disorder, even mental health disorders, it's preventing them from doing something that they want to do, but they can't do it due to the restriction that we feel that is restricting their lives. And this is a very old piece. It's actually made in the 1970s. If you know, the attempt to break free is a series of sculptures, and you know, if you look closely, it's in 1978, which is actually the year that my sister was born. Amazing. My older sister was born in 1978. So it's a very long time ago, but the beauty of it is that even if it's made in the 1970s, we can still relate to this. When we see it here, we see the struggle, and we have, all of us at one point in our life, have felt this struggle.
It's still relevant to our day.
Still relevant to us, exactly. It's still relevant to us emotionally, psychologically, physically, because the human condition is the same. And all people go through the same thing, and it unifies us when we look at it and we get that reaction and we feel empathy for the person who's trying to break free, and we want to help them. And I think that moves kind of the, you know, the humanistic side for all of us, that, you know, we can feel for an empathy for someone who's struggling to break free from something, and we would like to help them, and we'd like to help ourselves as well. Maybe this will motivate us to break free from something and help us to reach our goal.
Hopefully, yes, and I love that it could be, it can vary, right? It can be from health restrictions or hindrance, or it could be maybe societal restrictions that we impose on ourselves sometimes. It's not necessarily a disease, but it could be something just mental, as you said, a hindrance.
Yes.
Something that we need to mentally get over this obstacle. That's true. Break out.
And it's interesting that you mentioned society, because we're actually in a school, right?
That's right, that's right, yes.
And it's a school for girls, I think, right? So, you know, at one point in time, the girls who were attending the school were breaking out of some societal,
amazing, yes,
that's you linked it to the actual building that we're in, and girls' education was a very big step for the state of Kuwait, and it was actually the first. We're one of the first countries in the region to provide education for girls.
Amazing.
At a primary level, and you know, breaking free.
So full circle.
Yes, exactly.
Well, Dr. Hind, we loved having you, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for interviewing me, and I had an amazing time, and I will definitely be back in this museum again.
Inshallah. See you soon.
Thank you.
During the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait in 1990, much of the Al-Sharqiyya school building was damaged and left abandoned for some time. Because of its valuable location, cultural importance, and historical architecture, the school was chosen in 2001 to become the headquarters of the Museum of Modern Art. The National Council for Culture, Arts, and Literature took over the building from the Ministry of Education and began rebuilding and restoring it to preserve its heritage. The museum officially opened to the public in January 2003 during the Grain Cultural Festival, under the name the Museum of Modern Art. Welcome back, dear viewers, and now I am pleased to be joined by our guest here, of course, in the museum, Ms. Farah Al-Qattan, who is a teacher and an artist. Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for having me today for this interview.
Now, Ms. Farah, can you tell us what inspired your interest in the Museum of Modern Art in Kuwait?
So, since this has been always a school called the Eastern School of Kuwait, and it is in Sharq area. After the invasion in 1991, it turned into a museum. And because of this, a museum and a school, it still holds the values of inspiring children or even young artists to become more into the arts of creativity, and also creativity falls under the educational field. Okay, so this is a school that was established in 1939 called the Eastern School, and it's mainly focused on the education of boys. After, in 1991, after the invasion, they have decided to turn this into a museum, and it was established or open to the public in 2003. So because this holds a vast majority of artwork by local artists, this place holds a very special place in my heart.
I see. Now, Ms. Farah, of course, when you walk through these galleries, tell me what goes through your mind. How do you feel when you walk through these galleries?
So, because the art does, or the museum does not have one specific theme, it falls under artists having form of self-expression. As you can see, there are many artwork here, whether it's sculptures, whether it's paintings, portraits. They all have different themes, and they are all self-work by artists. Some of them fall under the theme of the modern art, contemporary art, which is a beautiful thing, because something that we like doing now in this modern day.
I see. So what makes this museum special compared to other art spaces in Kuwait?
So what makes this place very special, in my opinion, is that the fact that we have a lot of traditional and cultural artwork. So we have a lot of embroidery, a lot of artwork that focuses on sedu, which is something that we are very proud of, as the Arab culture works with them.
Of course. Now, do you think the museum plays a role in inspiring young Kuwaiti artists today?
I think it does play a huge role, because there has been a lot of artwork created by a lot of young people, and a lot of artwork that has been created in early 2000s and all, like in the 90s.
I see. So as both an artist and a teacher, what drew you to the Museum of Art in Kuwait?
So I always like seeing how people express themselves, and one of the most obvious ways of seeing how a person expresses themselves is from their artwork. So when you hold a brush and just stroke the portrait, you can see many different types of artwork can be produced. As you guys can see here, we have a lot of artwork in this museum, and this museum holds a lot of different stories behind it, because each portrait that is displayed here has a story behind it.
A story and a journey, of course.
Of course, 100%, yes.
Now, what would you say to people who haven't yet visited the Museum of Modern Art?
I would say it's definitely worth visiting, because it will open up their eye to modern Arab artists, also contemporary artwork. Nonetheless, obviously, if you are into all traditional artwork, there is a lot of things that symbolizes the old, or not, I would not even say old, I would say the cultural artwork in Kuwait.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, now, Ms. Farah, now can we move on, and maybe you can show us some of your paintings and tell us the story behind it?
Of course, yes. Most definitely.
Okay. Let's move on. Now, Ms. Farah, can you tell us more about the artist for this sculpture here, the details in it also, whatever you can tell us about it?
Of course. So this wooden sculpture has been created by the artist, Mr. Khaz'al al-Gaffas. So this portrait is called Goat and His Son, and it's made of complete wood. And as you can see in this sculpture, there is a lot of detail that goes into it. There is a lot of engraving as well that symbolizes that it has been taking a lot of time, and this sculpture could have taken days and up to even weeks. I do believe that this sculpture represents how important is family and how much that the Arab culture depends on their father and the son, and the
So the roles of the family, basically, fatherhood.
Yes, the fatherhood and having a close relationship with the father is something very important and crucial, as you know, in our culture.
Of course, yes, yes. Now, Ms. Farah, can you tell us more about this artist that made this sculpture?
His name is Mr. Sami Mohammed. This has been created in 1993, and it's a bronze sculpture that symbolizes, or in my interpretation, shows that there are people gathering in this sculpture, which is a very important tradition in the Arab region, because visiting people or having people visit us at home is something that is a strong part of our tradition.
Yes, the gatherings and the family gatherings, even the men gather in the diwaniyas, and also the women that gather in their own special spaces as well.
Of course, and that is one of the most important traditions, because this makes us unite together, and because it's an important part of our culture. And I do believe that these things make us stronger when it comes to having a family bond or even a friendship bond.
Of course, yes.
Yes.
We've seen how this remarkable space brings together creativity, culture, and identity under one roof. Every gallery, every artwork, and every architectural detail reflects Kuwait's dedication to preserving its heritage while embracing the modern artistic expression. Through its exhibitions, collections, and educational programs, the museum continues to support local talent, connect communities, and inspire visitors to see art as a language that transcends generations. We hope you enjoyed the journey as much as we did, dear viewers. Until next time, goodbye.